it's not a one size fits all by any means, but it is a great form of relief for a certain segment of the population for sure.
If you're overwhelmed with debt but don't want to file for bankruptcy, should you still talk to a lawyer? We're talking with attorney David Shuster about that on today's Ask the Lawyer. David, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you as always. So I know you're a bankruptcy attorney, and in your experience, does everyone struggling with debt need to file for bankruptcy?
No, definitely not. It's relief that's there for a certain segment of people. And so certainly not. No, it doesn't work that way at all. I mean, you want to make sure that it provides a net benefit. And it often does. It just depends, if you're married, if you're not, if you have assets other than your home and cars, home car retirement, those things are exempt, but what if you have a rental property or you have some other liquid investments? And so it's something that it's not a one size fits all by any means, but it is a great form of relief for a certain segment of the population for sure.
So what are some options that folks have for debt relief that don't include bankruptcy?
Yeah, great question. I get that a lot, and I help people out with it as well. It's in short, it's settling the debt, okay, for less. I mean, you're paying per the creditor's terms, and things are unmanageable, and that's why people are looking around for other options. It's not just that they took out some loans and thought, oh, geez, I could use this money for something better than paying back the loans. It's the fact that they just can't keep up with it anymore because the terms demanded by the creditors with interest rates and payments and sometimes weekly payments for higher business loans and so they just can't manage it. And so debt settlement is an opportunity to just, back off and just, not pay and go through the default process and begin to settle the debt for lesser amounts as the person is able to do.
So if someone comes up to you, David, and says, hey, I don't want to settle for bankruptcy, do you try and convince them otherwise?
Absolutely not. I do. However, I get that a lot. I don't know what the percentage is, but it is. Listen, it's not something that kind of makes a warm and fuzzy feeling when someone says, it's a slow process. It's a psychological process. They have to. To answer your question is that I like to educate them as to what it is. What does it mean? Is it something that we should even consider for you? That usually takes 5 minutes. I mean, it doesn't take that long to just figure out, okay, well, should we talk about this more or not? And there are definitely instances where I think in my professional opinion and from doing this, over 20 years that, this is a good option for you. It's in fact the best option for you. But they don't want to do it. Again, it's a psychological thing and they think that it's just not for them. And so in those cases, we do offer other options, do like what I like to call a crawl, walk and run approach to find out if there is an alternative way to get back on top of things.
So if someone knows that they don't want to file bankruptcy again, why should they still call an attorney?
They should call an attorney to know their rights. I mean, what can a creditor do to me if I don't pay them? A lot of people just think if I don't pay this bill at this time, or if maybe they haven't paid the bill in 90 days and they automatically, some people, God forbid, are just, they think they can get arrested or something. I mean, a lot of people think the worst. Okay. And so talking to an attorney is really important just so you can get explained to you what your rights are. Okay. And I'm in Texas. So anywhere in Texas, it's going to be pretty much the same as far as what your rights are, what a creditor can and can't do, more importantly, the timeline. If you're still current, if you've already defaulted, what kind of time frame am I looking at? Do I have to do this tomorrow, or can I do bankruptcy a year and a half from now? Whatever. Maybe somebody's going to retire in a year. So it's very important to talk to an attorney, just to kind of know your rights and really to relieve some anxiety for yourself, to prevent some stress.
Now, a lot of folks are worried about their money these days, obviously. Does it cost anything to call you or set up an appointment with you?
It does not if it's regarding, a debt situation where, you've got debt that you can't pay. And so the initial consultation is free of charge. And so, like I said, pick up the phone. If I'm not available, I usually can schedule you within 24 hours to get on a phone call or come by my office to go over things for no charge. So it's really kind of a no-brainer.
Well, and you touched on this a little bit, but walk us through the process of actually speaking with you and having you review someone's financial situation.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, right away, I would like to get a quick background story of the person. Everyone's got a quick story. Okay. I mean, some are longer than others. But we get the quick story of how you got here, what happened, just find out, just key points of, what do you own? It's not anything specific. You don't have to have notes. You don't have to, have your tax return out in front of you. You don't have to know, oh, well, I used to make this much last year. No, it's pretty much right now. What's going on? What happened and where are you at now? What do you own? Who's coming after you? We just find out really what is the most stressful thing going on with you right now. It's, oh, well, this bank calls me every day. Okay, well, let's deal with that first. Here's what you do. Tell them not to call you anymore. Okay. Send them a letter. I can send them a letter, kind of just in order of priority, what is stressing you out the most to, go over that and figure out a timeline and come up with a good solution for them. And usually by the time they hang up, they've kind of just hopefully in most cases have somewhat of a sigh of relief knowing that things aren't as bad as they made it out to be.
Well, David, a lot of great information as always, and we really appreciate you joining us.
Thanks. Yeah, always a pleasure. Appreciate it.
And that's going to do it for this episode of Ask the Lawyer. My guest has been attorney David Shuster. If you want to ask David a question about your situation, call the number you see on the screen. Thanks for watching. I'm Tom Mustin for Ask the Lawyers.